Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be talking about the best cards that come out of the new E Hero and M Hero Hero Strike Structure Deck, which is set to release in the OCG in just 1 week. We might get this in the TCG with like 1 or 2 different cards, but for the most part, it'll be relatively similar. So let's go ahead and jump into the best cards, and we'll also briefly have a little short discussion about the E Hero M Hero Structure Deck, as well as what they can do in the future. So first off, if you guys want to check out the entire spoiler list, I will have it linked down below in the description box, but let's get started. So first off, we got Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. He's a Dark Warrior that says, if this card is special summoned, you get to add 1 change quick play spell card from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand, except for Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. You can only use 1 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist effect once per turn and only once that turn. So that's really good. If he's detached his material, he gets his effect. If he's sent from the deck to the graveyard, like a Foolish Burial, or even something like a Mathematician, just anywhere that you get him into the graveyard, you get his effect. So you can't like mess things up, like for example Sandgan wouldn't be a card that you can send from the field to the graveyard as material, because XYZs are not material on the field. So that's pretty good. So he opens up the doors for a lot of OTK potential. Basically it's using a lot of the Volvo chain, adding stuff back, adding like stuff like Bowman, and then being able to just kind of go further shenanigans through that. Next up we have Masked Hero Dark Law. He's really what makes the deck so much better for the E Heroes, or I'm just going to call them Heroes because M Heroes, there's a C Heroes, there's multiple Heroes. They're just all in one deck, essentially. But anyways, it is a fusion level 6 monster with 2400 attack that says it must be special summoned by mass change and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Actually, pretty much all of them say that on the fusion part, so I'm not going to mention that, but anyways, its effect is that any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. At that point, you're like, wow, can it get any better? And the answer is yes. So it's once per turn when your opponent adds a card or cards from their main deck to their hand, except during the draw phase. You can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. So that means that the duality they're searching, not only are you going to be banishing whatever card that they activate to get that effect, but they also have to, go minus. So that's really good, and it's banished, not like discard or something like that, where the Dark World player would be like, oh sure, discard me all you want. But this is really good because not only does it have like a stun aspect, but being able to make it so your opponent can't go super plus when they're trying to get rid of this, they can't get through some searching. So how this will match up against Shadalls, I mean, technically you still have to use 2 cards, but they're really trying to make it so you really don't go minus with the heroes, because they're like, oh, okay, we're going to make it so you get to, add a card anyways once you have this card sent to the graveyard. So you're not going to go too minus with it, and that's kind of the problem that heroes, the masked heroes at least, have had, is you'd use 2 cards to make 1 card that was relatively strong, but if your opponent deprisoned or something like that, you just had a bad time. But nonetheless, we'll see how this matches up against Shadalls. I mean, Shadalls, they have the super polys anyways. A lot of even the OCG players run the super polys, and you can just, oh, super poly that thing, so, that's just the thing that you'll have to worry about. And, I feel like Shadalls can be much faster, much more consistent, although this definitely adds a new mechanic to the game, because I've seen some builds actually do a lot of shenanigans with Lavalval Chain. That's why that card is going to be so expensive. It's simply going to be because of those heroes. Next up, we have a Wind Masked Hero. He is Masked Hero Kamikaze, and he's level 8 with 2700 attack that says it cannot be destroyed by battle. Only 1 monster can attack during your opponent's battle phase. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, draw 1 card. So again, going back to that same idea that you're not going to go minus when you go for that mass change and you go for something and it doesn't work out. Although this one, you can still go minus if this card, gets deprisoned or something like that. But, you're still being able to get another card off of your 2-for-1, essentially. So that's, like I said, going to be very good for the deck. Next up, we have the Contrast Hero, but it's still technically a it's still an Elemental Hero monster, which is like, well, it's cool though. It's dark and light. So anyways, it requires 2 Masked Hero monsters, and it must be fusion summoned, and it cannot be special summoned by other ways, just like the rest of them. Anyways, while face up on the field, this card is also light attribute, so that means you can use Honest with it, and its effect is once per turn during either player's turn, you can target 1 face up card on the field, negate that face-up card's effects until the end of this turn. So this is more in that aspect of a stun, so it's like, okay, I can see where they're trying to go with this deck. They want the deck to be super consistent as far as not being able to go super minus when you go for your play if it doesn't work out. Hopefully you've gotten 1 card out of it. And they actually incorporate a little bit of a stun aspect. I don't know how viable this card will be, because getting out 2 masked heroes in the game is just a little bit difficult, even with the other stuff that they have, which we'll talk about briefly. But, I think it's, a decent card if you can get out. It's just a little bit too difficult, I would say, to get out, because 2 masked heroes requires 2, 2 things to change the monsters into a masked hero anyways, and then it requires you to have 2 monsters in the first place. So that's like probably 4 cards. I mean, maybe your opponent is playing masked heroes, and if they happen to have it, then you can super poly them back, and then you'd have a really, really great monster on board. Next up, just for other, great cards that are getting, reprinted as reprints that are reprints anyways, Miracle Fusion, that's pretty good. I think that that's always like a fantastic card to actually have, and it's a hero deck, so why not incorporate it into the deck? I wish they gave you multiple copies. And the TCG, we might get like 1 or 2 different cards just as a heads up, but for the most part, it'll be relatively similar. Next up, we have Form Change, which is actually really good. It's a quick play, and it says target 1 hero fusion monster you control, return that monster to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon a 1 from your extra deck, 1 mass hero with the same level as the original level of the return monster, but with a different name. So that's where it's like, oh darn, that's kind of unfortunate. But anyways, this special summon is treated as a special summon with mass change. So it's like, well, you know what else is this same level in it? Because we have this that's 9, we got this one over here, which is 8, and then we got this one that's 6. It's just like, oh, darn it, it has to be the same level. So that really switches up a lot of stuff. I mean, there's Mass Hero Acid, which is a fantastic card as well. There's also Mass Hero Dion, or a Diane. That's also another card that can be, used, but I feel like the newer ones are just obscure level. You can't really use them in combination, but you can use them in combination with other stuff. It's just like being able to attack with the monster, activate this, and get out a different monster and attack anyway. So I feel like this deck is going to have a lot of OTKs, basically, and I will be playing the deck for you guys. Well, I don't know if it's out on DevPro yet, but I will definitely test it out for you guys and let you guys know how it matches up against the higher tier deck right now in the OCG, the Shadals. But next up, we got Masked Change Second. It probably should be like second mass change, but translation, right? Anyway, so it's a quick play that says discard 1 card, then target 1 face-up monster you control that has a level. That means basically no XYZs. Send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 mass hero monster from your extra deck with the same attribute as that monster, but with a higher level. So basically, this allows you to actually go and swap the level, and then you can use it in combination with this, perhaps, depending on what you actually go for. And then it's treated as mass change anyway. So this deck is, it can have a lot of potential to OTK, and that's the thing that I'm almost worried about, that your opponent will just go all in. But the thing is, this deck doesn't really have too much of a great top deck other than Miracle Fusion, because a lot of times that I've seen some players play the deck, with Shadow Mist, they'll go for a Bulb Man, they'll try to like just go all in, and they just make something, they attack, and then they activate something. Actually, there was a guy that did this against me. I'll put a link down below in the description box as well for a video of that, where he basically just mass changed me forevers, and that can cause a lot of problems, especially when there's an absolute 0 on board and they go ahead and activate mass change, and they go for something like Acid, and that pops all your background and that pops all your monsters. So that basically is a board clear, and then on top of that, they still have the ability to technically attack twice, which is pretty nasty to run to. But I feel like this deck can definitely OTK really hard. I feel like perhaps someone will try this deck with Reckless Greeds. I think that this deck can excel at that, because if your opponent, is just going to lose, who cares that you're not going to be able to draw? As long as you keep on having those cards to activate, because remember, with this, it doesn't have that effect where you can only use 1 form change per turn or something like that. I mean, obviously, hopefully you can get a Miracle Fusion as well, and same thing with this. There's not like, well, this one actually has the downside where you can only activate 1 mass change second per turn, but this one over here does not have that effect, and obviously you have the original OG mass change anyway. So I mean, basically you should be able to OTK relatively easy, and I'll get some vids for you guys. Next up, we have Pot of Duality as a reprint. Also, Hero Lives, that's pretty decent reprint, and this card needed to be reprinted so hard. If you guys are like, Asian, what are you talking about? No one plays this. I understand. It's probably not going to see too much play anyways, but the thing is, for whatever reason, guys, this card's like a solid like $2 to $3 card. Sometimes if you go to card shops, you go look in their common bin, they have like, 10 commons for $1. You pick these up for like 25 cents. You can sell them for $1 to $2 really quickly, and people like this card. I think it's just one of those fan favorite cards. I don't know why, but this card has just always been a solid two for $5 card, or like $2 each or $3 each. So if you go ahead and pick these up, you go look for them, and you can make a couple bucks. But the thing is, since it's getting reprinted, it'll probably go back down to like $1 or $2. But for the most part, it was like I said, for a long time, it was like a solid $3 card. It was even $5. Well, a long time ago, back when was before the Legendary Collection, what is it, Joey's World or whatever. But this is when people were trying the Absolute Zero deck with the King of the Swamps. But that was like a long time ago. But yeah, like I said, if you guys want to check out the full list or view that video where basically it shows off how the deck actually can play. I don't know if this card was out at that time, or if he was even using these cards. I think it was just like mass change, but It's the same concept. Attack with the monster, switch masks, and then be able to attack again and just basically get a huge amount of damage on board. But let me know, guys, what you think about heroes, and I'm pretty sure we will get that E Hero Stratos unbanned, and I think that's really going to make players excited to play the game. I think felt like they did that on purpose. They're like, we're going to ban Stratos for a few formats, release the E Hero structure deck in the TCG, unban him, and then people will be super hyped to play it. Like I said, if you're in the OCG that comes out next week for the TCG, it might be a little while. Maybe we'll have to wait another ban list, and then they will unban our boy Stratos, and then we can get that structure deck, and then it'll really hype up the deck. Heck, what if Stratos came back at 2? This would make the deck super insane. I don't know if that could actually happen. That might actually cause problems because Stratos into Stratos was pretty good, but then again, you can Magically into Angeli, which gets you even crazier combo in the game. But yeah, watch out for this deck, guys. I think if you get matched up with against this deck, I think this deck will try to all-in you. It'll try to just burst everything in one turn, and I feel like I said, it'll probably be players trying out Reckless Greeds or some ways to just try to finish off the game as quickly as possible. So I don't know what you got to side deck against this, because remember, there is Mass Hero Acid, which can actually pop all the back rows. So just be aware of that. Maybe, I don't know, Gores. Maybe we'll get some more Gores in the TCG, because in the OCG, they got multiple Gores. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Azneyeswhite signing out.